back, everybody, to another special episode of Ro-JoSports, where we have the head of basketball operations for the University of Maine, Tommy Freeman. How's it going?
It's going well. Appreciate you guys having me on and getting a chance to sit down and talk with you guys.
Of course. We appreciate you taking this time to speak with us. Well, before we get into the University of Maine and all that goes into that, I just wanted to give you a shout out. I mentioned in the hype video for this the hero of the convo with a last second drained three over Miami, Ohio, right? But I just wanted to read some of the stats here that I found from 2007 to 2011. Over 1,000 points in your career, 44.3% from 3-point, which is crazy.
Lighten it up.
That's elite basketball status right there. But and also the leading, still to this day, the leading 3-point scorer for the University of Ohio.
Yeah, I think maybe the makes record has gone down. I think Nick Kellogg and DJ Cooper ended up passing me, but I think I might still be right there for career percentage. So definitely, had an enjoyable experience in Athens. Played with some really good players that made my job pretty easy.
Yeah, I remember seeing Nick Kellogg. That was awesome. That's when I was there. So
Yeah, some good players I played with. It makes your job pretty easy as a shooter when you have DJ Cooper and Armand Bassett passing you the ball. So just played my role and got out of those two guys' way.
Well, and by the sounds from whenever you hit that 3-pointer against Miami, it sounded like the convo, that environment. I just got to talk about that for a second. I took my proteges that I talked to you about off camera. I took him to see Miami, Ohio versus OU at the convo. First game I ever seen in there, and we sat up at the top. And when I tell you it goes from this to this to this real fast to get up to the top of the stadium, I didn't think I was gonna make it. I'm not a big cardio guy, but that being said, just that environment. What was that overall feeling like for you as a player? To sink a last second shot like that, and just overall, what was that feeling like? Do you still remember it?
That's one of my best memories of college, of my basketball career actually. That and going to the NCAA tournament, but just in that atmosphere, the convo, we have the best fans in the MAC. I'm biased, but OU's usually at the top of attendance. So, just being able to play in that environment, in front of the students, in front of the tight knit community. That was my junior year, so I really understood kind of the gravity of the rivalry with Miami at that time, and that kind of set us on a course where we made a run there and got hot at the end of the season. Finished 9th in the league that year out of 12, but everybody still made the MAC tournament at that point. But we got on a run and went to Ball State and won our first game of the MAC tournament, and then went to Cleveland and won 3 in 3 days. And next thing you know, we're getting matched up against Georgetown in the tournament. So, it was awesome to be part of the rivalry, the Red Brick rivalry, part of those OU Miami games, and then just kind of be a part of the lore of that game now, going forward, and to be mentioned along some of the greats in Ohio history.
oh man, well, some great names on there. Trent, and you talked about DJ Cooper, Kellogg. I remember Ivo Baltic. He was a big Reggie Keeley. Yeah, that was around my time. Yeah, I remember those guys.
Yeah.
They were good.
Some really good teams. Obviously we've continued to have great coaches coaching the convo in there at Ohio. So really good teams, and the teams that made runs in the tournament multiple times. So like I said, I just tried to stay out of those guys' way and do my role, not mess us up too much.
Well, you sure as hell didn't mess up too bad whenever you shot over 44% from 3 in your career at Ohio. What made you such an efficient shooter?
I think it was really just the time that I put in. I mean, there's just there's no special special sauce to it. I put in the time, and that's one thing. Looking back on my career, I feel like I really maxed out. I didn't look back and have regrets on I could have spent more time in the gym or done this or done that. Are there things I could have been better at? Yeah, of course. But I feel like I really maxed out with my skill set and the gifts I had, but I just spent a ton of time in the gym, growing up with my dad, out in the barn. I'm from Indiana, so I had the hoop in the barn and would go out there in the middle of winter and shut the barn doors and get shots up. And there's just, even to this day, I don't think there's any replacement for just putting the time and work in.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Coach. As a fellow OU alum myself, uh, and you being a Division One former Division One basketball player, I know that college food isn't the best, and especially down there in Athens, there's some chicken and waffle in all the places in the Bagel Street.
Yeah.
So how did you maintain your nutrition as a D1 athlete? And a follow up question is, what was your favorite dining hall on the campus?
Two tough questions right there. I came in at 6'5", 170 pounds, so it was really hard for me to keep weight on, which I wish I still had that issue. But
Amen.
I had to, I would meet with our strength coach. I was there. I was trying to bulk up during my entire 4 years in Athens. Um, I got up to like 195, 200. Got mono. I got back up to that again. Tore my bicep and my shooting arm, going into my senior year. So there were like multiple setbacks along the way. And I kind of kept at it. My playing weight ended up being like right around 190 is where I was for the majority of my career. And that's in large part due to our strength conditioning program. Yeah, and balancing it, there wasn't as much education out there as there is now, for our guys that are coming through college now. But our strength conditioning team did a good job. Coach Gross was always ahead of the curve with that, with keeping our body fat percentages. So there was a lot that went into it, and it was something I honestly really had to work at. Um, Favorite dining hall, um, man, multiple, but I mean, I got to go with the good old faithful there on West Green. Doing the grab and go right before practice on the way back from classes. I actually enjoyed going to the dining hall and having like a slow morning, easing into it. I enjoyed morning classes. Uh, Strange for like I guess a college kid to say, but I really enjoyed like waking up, going over, grabbing some food, getting my day started. Um, I'm a little bit of a procrastinator, so I'm sure I was doing some last minute cramming for my classes during breakfast. But I've always been a morning person, so I really enjoyed kind of easing into the day there on West Green.
That Boyd grab and go was legendary, but they did remodel it lately, so it's a shame. But
Yeah, I'll have to stop in. I had the chance to come back to the Convo in Athens for the first time in a while. First time playing a game in there since I played, and we had our 3-month-old daughter at the time there. So, real full circle moment for me, and just coming back to Athens and getting to reconnect with so many people that I had really good relationships during my 4 years there.
Coach, take it back to the 44% that I was talking to you about, and which you're very much aware of. How many shots back then do you think you were getting up per day to become that consistent? And do you think shooting is more repetition or more mechanics?
Um, I was probably getting up between 200 and 300 shots on a daily basis. I preferred night times. With me living right there on West Green, I would just walk over. Study hall was open till 9 p.m., and a lot of times I'd be in the convo at 10, 11, getting shots up. Even after games where I didn't play a lot my freshman year, I would go out to eat with my dad and then come back and get shots up. So that was kind of my routine. Different guys have different routines with that stuff. Um, and I'm a big believer in you have to fix the mechanics for you to really rise to an elite level. Um, I also am aware, like, is Reggie Miller's shot, was it like the most mechanically sound? How we learn to shoot or how I teach shooting? No, but like that guy, there are extreme cases of like the repetitions they're gonna perfect imperfection, as I say. But like obviously it works for them. So do I believe that different guys can shoot different ways and have success? Yeah, if you're gonna put in that many reps of it for a normal high school, middle school, elementary kid that's not gonna be spending or taking the time to shoot 200 to 400 shots a day, it's going to be, I think it's going to be an uphill climb with flawed mechanics. So for me, it's a combination of the two, but starting with mechanically, getting it as sound as you can, and then putting in the repetition, on the move, off the dribble, um, just practicing different game-like shots when you're tired. All those things are going to go into it. Just the catch and shoot when I have energy, it's not going to be very game realistic when you make it there. So, just putting yourself in different situations to practice all the shots you're going to get in the game.
All right, Coach. What coach had the biggest impact on your career, and what did you take from that coach that you kind of use in your day to day?
Um, Multiple guys. I had really good coaches. Growing up in Indiana, Coach Fine, my high school coach. Uh, I played on a really good high school team. Didn't play consistently on varsity until my junior year, which would be grounds for transferring now. But we went to the state championship my sophomore year. Played some guys named Greg Oden and Mike Conley, and we had 8 seniors on the team. And so we waited our turn, like my class, junior year, uh, brand new team basically, and made it back to the same exact place. Made it to the state final game again. Got state runner up. So we ran into some really good teams there, and then senior year we played some guys, Scott Wood and Julius Mays, who ended up at NC State. Julius ended his career at Kentucky, so really good Indiana high school basketball. Coach Fine, just waiting our turn. Learning how to be consistent in practice and not always see the benefit right away with getting time on varsity. Um, to the point where I asked to go down to the JV team as a sophomore and get game experience there, and had to step up and have that talk with him man to man. Coach, I think this could really benefit me. I think it's going to help me get game reps. Um, what are your thoughts on it? And had that conversation, went down and played the rest of the year JV, would still dress for varsity and get sparing minutes here and there. But, the delayed gratification, I think that was a big learning thing for me. So when I got to college, and there were multiple times where I would start the year in the starting lineup and get moved out of it. The older I got in my career and, the more experience I had, Coach Gross was a big influence with this as well. And he had a saying: freshmen just want to play, sophomores they want to start, juniors they want to get their numbers, and seniors just want to win. And it still holds true. Today's day and age with the college transfer portal, the delayed gratification is getting even less and less. If guys aren't seeing it right away, then everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people in their circles are, hey, let's find you a different situation. And sometimes it's just going through the normal. It's not normal now, but the normal 4 years of, hey, I played behind some really good players my freshman, sophomore year. I adjust to the college game. And then my junior and senior year are really my years where I take off, where I know the system, um, where I can really, I know where my skills are going to fit into the offense. I know where to attack. I know when to attack. And I have our system down pat, and I'm ready to, make the most of my opportunity getting on the floor in those later years. So I would say my high school coach, Coach Fine, and also my college coach, John Gross, who coached me 3 out of 4 years at Ohio.
All right. And then, man, played against Greg Oden and Mike Conley, and woo.
Yeah. A lot of guys over my career: OJ Mayo, Eric Gordon, played with Jeff Teague growing up, Kevin Love. I mean, played the Kansas team when they won the national championship. Just have played against and with a lot of really good players, and been a part of some big time games. So, yeah, blessed to be able to do that. But again, it was something I feel like I had earned. No moment was ever too big because I felt like I had prepared for those games and being able to play in them.
Sure. Speaking of schools being able to play in certain type of games, certain type of situations, schools like Miami, Ohio, who ended up getting into the March Madness tournament. Just you being the head of basketball operations at the University of Maine, what would it take to get a program like the University of Maine that next level, like making an NCAA tournament? And how do you keep players bought in during tougher stretches?
Yeah, something that's never been done at Maine. Maine has been to multiple title games in the America East Conference over its history, but has never been to the NCAA tournament in men's basketball. Um, it's gonna. We were on the right trajectory our first 3 years here under Chris Markwood, where we took the program to 13 wins our first year, 15 our second, and 20 our third, and played in the conference title game against Bryant to go to the tournament. So we've shown an upwards trajectory. For us to get over that hump, it's really going to take a group of connected guys. You saw it with UMBC in our league this year. They had a really connected team. They played unselfishly. They really took a step defensively forward this year from years past. And in this landscape of especially our league, between graduation and transfers, our league was almost totally brand new this year. So it was really the team that was going to come together the fastest, gel, and UMBC went on a stretch where I think they won like 12 or 13 of their last games of the games coming down the stretch to end the season. So they played great basketball. It's going to take that. The same will be true next year for our league. There will be a lot of turnover for us to be better than we were this year. We're going to have leadership in the locker room. We do have some returning guys that are coming off injury. And then we're going to need to bring in the right pieces, and we're going to have to get those guys to gel. At Maine, we've always had great kids that have stayed a part of our program and welcomed new guys in and made them feel welcome, but also knowing that they have to be a big part of our success going forward. So we've always blended kind of the guys that we have returning with new guys that we've brought in. One of our biggest things has been character of the guys we're bringing in and guys that love ball. So we've had a high hit rate on guys we've recruited from the high school ranks and also transfers. So we're going to continue to try to do that, really evaluate, do our job, recruit the best we can, and then, do our job when the guys get on campus. I feel like we have really good relationships with our guys. They can all sense that we're genuine and really care about them. And I think that's the first step to being able to coach guys hard is having that relationship and them realizing that you do care for what's best for them as well.
Awesome. Joe?
All right, Coach. This is a very important question for this show. What is your favorite Gatorade flavor? That's the first question. And then the part two of the question is, the state drink of Maine is Moxie, from what I know from my buddy from Buffalo. And
Okay.
he wants to know, have you tried it, and what's your opinion on it if you have?
The first part of the question is definitely the dark blue Gatorade. That's the
That's a new
A1.
one.
Yeah.
It's so solid. Even warm, like not like scalding hot where it's been sitting out in the sun, but like room temperature, fine. Just the flavor, it's just the best one. A lot of good ones up there, but that's got to be number one for me. And then Moxie, have not tried it. Um, and I believe it is a carbonated drink, which I'm huge like sodas, pops, what I call them. Everybody, up here, nobody calls it pop, so everybody thinks I'm weird when I say pop
Yeah.
up here, but totally a Midwest thing. But I have not had a Moxie, so it's definitely still on my to try list up here. Some of the other Maine state staples, lobster, blueberries, um, I've got around to all that stuff. So I met my fiance up here. She hasn't got me on the Moxie yet. So we're gonna have to go down that road at some point.
Once you do,
Well,
you'll have to
Rob.
let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, no green apple,
Still
like
no
Rob
green
said.
apple. I'm still the only
Yeah.
green apple guy out here, man. It's unbelievable.
I'm a lemon lime guy myself, but that's the classic.
Solid pick. Solid pick.
Coach, one of the main things that you and I had talked about prior to this interview was about kids coming out of high school looking to reach the dream or the goal of playing at the Division One level. Some of the kids are getting a much later start at it. It's already end of March. And they don't have didn't have the resources and things like that. But that being said, um, kids who dream of playing at the Division One level, what are you as the director of basketball operations? What are you really looking for when you evaluate a player, and what advice would you give them if they want to get to that level?
Yeah. The first thing for us is we're always going to evaluate the basketball talent. They have to have a minimum level of ability, of traits. We're the way we play, we switch a lot guard to guard off the ball. So you're going to have to be a minimum. We love bigger guards. So anyone like 6'1" to for guards 6'5". The wings 6'5" to 6'7", 6'8", and then our bigs 6'8" to 6'10", we can work with in our league. That's what most of our league looks like. I'm not saying we won't recruit shorter guys. We have in the past. We do. We have some of those guys on our team. But for us, it makes things easier of being able to kind of perform our base defense and be able to switch multiple positions. Um, and a certain weight as well. We have to have a body type for the more athletic teams in our league. You have to be able to guard on the defensive end as well as score on the offensive end. So definitely a certain body type along with the basketball ability. And then we're really diving into what type of kid are you? We're talking to AAU coaches, we're talking to high school coaches, we're talking to parents. We're talking to anybody that we can surround a kid with. So we can really find out who we're getting, especially in the era of the transfer portal in the spring when it's speed dating a little bit. We're really trying to call as many people around a kid as we can to really get to know that kid on a shortened timeline because we don't have the multiple month recruitment that we would normally have with the high school kid. So, we're really trying to evaluate all those things. How does he fit into what our roster already has on it? How is he going to fit in the locker room? Is he going to mix character wise with that? Is he going to be about the right stuff? Not a lot of people have been to Maine. I hadn't been before I accepted the job. So how is he going to be as a student athlete here? Is he going to be able to come up here and have success and um, be able to come in and incorporate himself in the team and kind of be about uh, what we believe here and kind of the culture we've developed since we've gotten here.
Now, piggybacking off of that, what's something that you would say to a student? I was told to ask you this. What's something that you would tell a student who, you know, looks into one school for academics, but wants to try and walk on to a Division One basketball program? What's some kind of advice that you would give to a player like that?
Yeah, we've honestly had a lot of guys just get accepted into the University of Maine, and then they'll reach out to us kind of organically. Sometimes it's even just stopping in the basketball office and saying like, "Hey, I've applied, I've been accepted. Like, I have game film." Sometimes they'll have like a contact, um, some type of coach in their past that might reach out and give us kind of a heads up that like they have a student athlete that will be attending the university. Um, we haven't had walk-on tryouts, but I know some schools do have walk-on tryouts. So multiple ways to do it. Some guys have started as practice players for the women's team and made the transition that way. Some guys just get recognized at the rec center. There's been multiple stories of that. So there's multiple ways to do it. I tend to think if you have talent, even on a campus of 13,000 like Maine, like if you're up at the rec playing and you're better than everybody else, then chances are somebody's going to notice. Somebody's going to see a kid playing and let the staff know. So multiple ways to do it, multiple ways to get recognized, but talent is always gonna kind of stand out.
Okay, Joe.
All right, Coach. I kind of got like one final question here. Since we're kind of like teachers ourselves, Rob is a teacher, but I kind of dabble in teaching. What is your teaching style, and how do you use that to connect with players, and especially in this day and age?
Yeah, our whole staff is very teaching oriented in the sense that not a lot of yelling that's going on. And that's I think as a good assistant coach, as being part of a college staff, you have to mirror your boss, and that's the approach that he always is going to take. Are there times where we have to get on? Yeah, of course. There's always going to be that in competitive sports, and especially the higher you go. But especially for me as a player, I didn't learn from just being yelled at. I learned from, hey, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it, and this is how you can see success, and it can help you. So I prefer very much like this tone of voice, coaching guys. This is why we're doing this move. This is what I want to see you do with it. Try this, and until the student athlete sees some success with it. And certain guys are going to be coached better like that. Certain guys need jumped a little bit. I do think it's an individual on an individual basis. But again, I think the more each of your athletes know that you care about them and have their best interest in mind, the more open they're going to be to accepting that coaching regardless of the delivery style you have. So, just being able to connect with the guys. I have a little bit of an advantage because I played at a fairly high level, mid-major basketball, played overseas professionally. That's something all of our guys have aspirations of doing. So I've done it, and I can get out there and not do it as quick or as explosive as before, but can still do it a little bit enough that they still respect, kind of me being able to show them. Don't laugh at me too hard. So
Yeah.
I can earn a little bit of. I have a little bit of credibility on that front.
Okay. Coach, in our area, one of the biggest reasons that Joe and I do this is to bring awareness to smaller areas such as Marietta, such as Martins Ferry and Bridgeport, areas like this who don't necessarily get the recognition as like Cleveland or Columbus or Cincinnati and schools, areas like that. What, let's see, what is something that high school coaches in this area can do better to prepare kids for the next level, for getting them that recognition that they might not know that is a possibility?
Yeah, I think just exposing your guys to the best competition you can find. And, life's hard. Sometimes you get your head beat in and you got to figure it out. Uh, but you only grow through struggle. And, going to an OU team camp and playing, schools that are a division or two above you. And hey, we might take a head beating, but I've seen what it looks like now. I know there's these kids that I'm not close to them. And if I want to be able to be in the mix for scholarships compared to that kid, that's who I'm going to have to beat out. Or that's where our team needs to get to if we want to be playing our best. Not in June when we're at this team camp, but by the end of the year. So I think like going to the state tournament. I think seeing that from a young age, from elementary, middle school, this is what it looks like. This is what a big time environment looks like. This is what a really good team looks like. And the more you see it, the more you're around it, the more. Again, it's like people they say like you are who you surround yourself with. Well, like if you're surrounding yourself with good basketball, and you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're going and you're not the best one in the gym every time. That's fine. That's good. You want to be pushed. Like if you're just the best one and you can get away with the same move every time, you're never going to have to learn new moves. Growing up, there was a YMCA that all the local high school kids would go to, and it ended up being like 10 of us went D1 from that YMCA. And it was like all the guys, it was like a lot of guys that ended up at Butler during their like Final Four runs. Those were some of the guys. Guys go to IPFW. I went to Ohio, Florida Southern, break records. We had guys go all over the country out of that one YMCA, and it was just all because we were pushing each other to be really good. And all of our high school teams separately were very good, and then we all went and had great college careers. So I don't think you can be scared to like fail, and it seems to be a lesson that's more kids are more scared to learn, but that's fine if you don't succeed. The first time, that's fine if you're not the best. That gives you a bar of where you need to get to, and how hard you have to push yourself. So I think just being exposed to that as much as high school coaches can get their kids. I just think that's a great learning tool in order to the ones that really want to take it serious and want to improve, like they're going to welcome that challenge, even if that means getting their head beat in by 51 game.
Well, let us not let these kids forget that Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. So
Exactly.
speaking of that, we always ask. Well, we won't take up a whole bunch more of your time here, but we always ask top five. Who's your top five basketball players of all time?
Jordan's number one.
Thank you.
Just put that one to rest. Put that one to rest. LeBron's got to be number two. Physically, there's been a couple guys that have changed the game from a physical nature, like Kareem, Wilt, during their time, just physically, more dominant than anybody. But LeBron in an era where strength conditioning is a big part of the game. How dominant and the longevity he's had of doing it at such a high level, I think would firmly plant him in the number two position. Three for me is like Magic Johnson, probably a versatile player that could really handle it, especially at his size. Really changed kind of what a point guard at that time looked like, and that's given birth to bigger guards across the board. Bream, I would say, has to be your starting center. And the fourth one or the fifth one, you can go a lot of different ways. Another guy who just with the physicality and just dominated the game, and I think Shaq has to be pretty high on the list as well. Just how dominant he was, kind of in the same era. Kobe's right there as well. So
Yeah.
there's a top five is really hard. A top six is a little easier, but there's probably 10 guys that different people could argue.
Yeah. One of mine that I always have to throw in there is Larry Bird. I'm a big Larry Bird guy. I'm a Celtics fan, so a little biased maybe, but
Yeah, I might.
without Larry Bird, there's no Magic Johnson. Without Magic Johnson, that was it.
Uh, I'll hope not too many of my Northeast neighbors see this and see that I left and hear that I left Larry off. So that might be a good thing. The fewer people that see it up my way.
Well, Coach, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today, or anything else? We really appreciate you coming on to our show and doing this and taking the time away from the transfer portal and everything else that's going on right now. But is there anything else that you'd like to share, or the floor is yours?
No, just really appreciate you guys having me on. Love what you guys are doing. Love that you're trying to get information out there for the youth. Think that's really important is just having some guidance in all this. With the new landscape of college athletics, how it's looked with NIL, things like that. There's a lot of voices out there. So I think having, just like my biggest thing, and if you do want to compete in college athletics, is really having a tight knit circle of people who have your best interest in mind, and that you really trust and know you. So I think that's just the advice that I would kind of leave is just to, kind of form your circle of people that you really know are going to care about you, point you in the right direction, and ultimately want to help you along the way, reach your dreams.
Awesome. Joe, anything else from you, buddy?
That's all I got. I was a little disappointed with the no lemon lime, but hey, that flavor is also great. The blue, the dark blue. So that's acceptable.
Appreciate it. Lemon lime definitely top five though. That's a no brainer.
You got to try green apple. Yeah, you got to try it out. And Moxie, apparently.
We'll give it a chance. Yeah, it sounds like I'm gonna have to go on a little taste testing adventure here while the family's out of town. So I might get real crazy.
Yep. There we go. Hey, again, thank you again so much for coming on the show, and we'll definitely keep a better eye on University of Maine basketball for sure.
Appreciate you guys having me again.
Of course. Have a good one.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
Coach.
care.